Donald Trump has revoked the equal rights employment opportunity. Hey, this act literally outlawed discrimination in hiring when it comes to race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. So when y'all say he's good for the economy for who?
Donald Trump did away with the Equal Employment Opportunity Act today, and if you voted for him, we cannot be friends. We can't be associated with one another because your vote was personal.
I'm about to sign into law the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Its purpose is national, not regional. Its purpose is to promote a more abiding commitment to freedom, a more constant pursuit of justice, and a deeper respect for human dignity.
To the white people watching this, and especially to the white people that know me in the real world, my friends, okay? Today, Trump did away with the Equal Employment Opportunity Act. You know the history of that, and you know why it had to be implemented in the first place. So when you went in that booth, if you cast your vote for Donald Trump, we're done.
Blacks for Trump. Get y'all ass in here. Are you proud of yourselves? You feeling good about yourself now?
I'm going to try to stay calm, but I'm not. But I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Fuck Donald Trump, fuck J.D. Vance, fuck Elon Musk, fuck everybody who considers himself a Republican or a conservative, fuck every Supreme Court justice, fuck every Democrat who's weak and ineffectual, fuck every black person who refuses to pick up a book and learn anything, fuck every black person who doesn't know their history, fuck everybody who voted for Donald Trump.
So here's what's going on. Trump's administration just revoked key protections within the Civil Rights Act, specifically targeting enforcement mechanisms that held businesses, schools, and government institutions accountable for any kind of discrimination. Let me repeat that, guys. Without these key mechanisms, these institutions can legally discriminate without any fear of major consequences. Now you tell me, does that sound like progress to you? Or is it a step backwards into the millennia of past struggles? Let me know in the comment section what you think about today's episode. Let's jump into the videos. Welcome again to the channel, and then I'll be back with more commentary.
Donald Trump has revoked the equal rights employment opportunity. Hey, this act literally outlawed discrimination in hiring when it comes to race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. So when y'all say he's good for the economy for who? This man is setting us back in time. So when we ask, what part of America were we so great that you want to get back to? Apparently, before 1965, when employers had the right to discriminate against anybody they wanted to. On the internet, I've been chastised by conservatives for being stuck in the past for the past 5 years. Just for this man to get back in office and make legislation that sets us back in the past years, it sounds like y'all been projecting. You're obsessed with the past. You're stuck in the past. So the same folks that call us lazy for saying it's hard to get a job has now passed a policy that makes it harder to get a job, huh? Because what does it mean to revoke a policy that said discrimination was bad? I can see it now. Here come the shallow free thinkers in my comment section talking about, man, it's pretty clever that he did this though because it was helping us anyway. Man, shut up. They claimed on radical change though, right? But if you revoke a policy that's been the law of the land for over 50 years, 60 years, how is that not radical change? Education is elevation, and I'm not telling you this to be outraged. I'm telling you this so you can be aware.
I'm going to be very short and very to the point. To the white people watching this, and especially to the white people that know me in the real world, my friends, okay? Today, Trump did away with the Equal Employment Opportunity Act. You know the history of that, and you know why it had to be implemented in the first place. So when you went in that booth, if you cast your vote for Donald Trump, we're done. If you didn't hear me the other times I've said it, I just want to reiterate it now. You cannot vote for somebody that takes away the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, knowing the history behind it and why it had to be put in place. You can't cast your vote for him and look at me and tell me that you love me. You're done. And I mean that for life. Unfucking believable. They try to paint it as this saving grace for civil rights when really they just want to fill the federal government with all of their selected employees that are loyalists no matter what. So even after the 4 years that Donald Trump is done, Even if another MAGA loyalist or Republican takes the presidency, they still have to go through all of this bullshit because now you got only MAGA federal employees. No diversity, no inclusion. Talking about some fucking based off merit. We know what it has to be based off. Did you bend the knee to Donald Trump? Cool. You now have a job in the federal government. We fired everybody else. You knew what you were voting for. Donald Trump knows he cannot run again. If you think that you think they're doing all this shit just to disappear in 4 years, they're setting it up for the long game. They're setting it up for the fucking long game. So now if I go in and I want to get a loan for a home, if I want to get a business loan, I guarantee you it's going to be so much easier for the white man who they love and select to get a loan than it is for me to start my business. Fast forward into the next generation, my bloodline is now affected because I couldn't start my business as soon as this guy could because he's white and he got the loan. It's an example, but do you see how shit like this affects generation after generation after generation? We get robbed of opportunities because of your selfish ass vote. Did he sign an executive order for price gouging? Did he sign a fucking executive order for these grocery stores to stop looking at you with no fucking money and increasing the prices anyway? That's what he told y'all. Where's the executive order for that? Oh, well, it's a process and it's complicated. It can't, excuses. Like it always fucking is from y'all. Done, dude. Out my fucking face, man. Think about how big of a fucking pussy you have to be, man. You don't want anybody criticizing you or speaking out against your ideology, so you try to suppress the flow of information in social media because you're a strong leader, but you can't take fucking criticism. And then on top of that, when you lose or when your people lose, you blame it on fucking DEI and the corrupt government. Because the guy who you fucking lost to is not fucking white, but he's also more qualified than you. You can't fucking wrap your head around that. You have fucking terminal, incurable hatred in your heart. And it's genuinely not until recently I had to accept that even those type of people can fucking exist. I cannot control your existence, but I can control your access to my fucking life, bro. Out of here.
I'm gonna keep it really short and sweet, but Donald Trump did away with the Equal Employment Opportunity Act today, and if you voted for him, we cannot be friends. We can't be associated with one another because your vote was personal.
For every black Republican, I really want y'all to take a long look in the mirror and ask, do you love the color of your skin? Because y'all allowed this man in office. It's something that our ancestors fought for, got beat for, got dogs on them, got sprayed with water hoses, got hung for. They fought for these rights for us, and y'all squandered them away for money. Y'all squandered them away just to be closer to white people. What a disgrace y'all are to our community. My mom wasn't even born when this shit came through. My mom wasn't even born. And you mean to tell me y'all let this man take this from us? Something our ancestors fought for? Y'all really let that shit happen? If you are black and you voted for this man, go play in traffic. Because this shit right here, this should have never happened. Everybody is about to suffer for this. Everybody. Everybody. Race, color, religion, national origin. This man is making America white again before Jim Crow. And we told y'all that. We told y'all he is trying to take us back to Jim Crow. And y'all sat there and y'all said, I don't want DEI. I don't want an advantage. DEI is not a fucking advantage. It's just to put us in the room because we're just as qualified as any other white man. And y'all let this shit go down.
Blacks for Trump. Get y'all ass in here. Are you proud of yourselves? You feeling good about yourself now? Now that your boy done went in there and revoked the Civil Rights Act of 65. Yeah. He just erased the Civil Rights Act. That same act that gave us even footing in the job market. That same act that made them include us in the hiring process in those jobs. Because before the Civil Act was completed, we didn't have a snowball's chance in hell of getting some of the positions that now black people hold. And it's not a hands up. It's not giving an unqualified candidate a chance. It's giving qualified candidates a chance, because the system was set up to always keep them down, to always not include them, to always make sure that you never get on certain levels. Well, that is back. Republicans for Trump, black Republicans for Trump, y'all might as well go ahead and hang them goddamn suits up. Yeah, the suits y'all was swagging in and all y'all little executive positions, all in those presidents and vice presidents and all of that. Get ready. Get ready. Because they're going to snatch those damn positions as well.
Some breaking news here. Donald Trump has just revoked the Equal Opportunity Employment Executive Order signed by LBJ back in 1965. Now, this was a bedrock policy. This was highly impactful back in the 1960s. Women and men of color were trying hard to have careers in the government, and this helped them. From what I understand, from what I was reading up on the articles and everything, is that he's trying to basically going to start cutting DEI hires, employees and whatnot out of the federal government. Now, a lot of people are upset about this, and a lot of people also need to understand why he's doing this. And I am not saying I agree with it. However, this is basically him trying to get rid of the stigma of, hey, because you're trans or you're black or you're gay or you're a woman or you're colored of any kind of an ethnicity, that you are a diversity hire, which in and of itself is insulting to people of different creeds, sexes, religions, backgrounds, races, to sit there and say, I'm hiring you because of this, because they want to use you like a mascot to bring other people in to, you know, following them, voting for them, supporting them, because they go, hey, look, I've got the trans person, the black person, the woman, the, you know, that kind of thing. That I disagree with that ever being okay, because that's just as bigoted as being against those people, because you're just using them as bait. This is still not the best thing, because he's going to start firing people who have probably been doing their jobs and they're just minding their own business. So I disagree with the fact that he is going to be rolling that back, because I feel like that's going to set a further precedent that it's okay, and that I'm worried that other businesses and companies are going to try to follow this. Not saying that they legally could, because this is, as far as I'm aware, it only affects the federal government. So I don't want to fearmonger here, but let me know what you guys think down below, because some of these executive orders and rollbacks he's doing are very, very, very jarring, to say the least.
So what I learned today is a lot of people, a lot of y'all you don't care about your history. You don't care about the people that made sacrifices for you to be able to be where you are today, to be able to do the things that you're able to do, to be able to have the opportunities that you're able to have. You don't care about it. I just got off the phone with my mom, who just got off the phone with her mom, my grandmother, who she had to console because she was boo-hoo crying. And my mom didn't realize why. My grandmother was crying because she had saw the news that the orange man in charge had just put an executive order to repeal the Equal Opportunity Employment Act of the Civil Rights Act of 1965. Now, understand, before that executive order was placed, that stood for over 50 years. An employer could literally tell you to your face, well, I'm sorry, I don't hire black people. I don't hire women. And no consequences. They could literally be just that discriminatory towards people. And the reason that it upset my grandmother so much is because she remembers my great grandmother and great grandfather, her parents, the sacrifices, the marching, the hard working, the speaking out and trying to help change, trying to help get these opportunities for us, and the sacrifices these people made to their own families, not to being around their families sometimes because they were fighting for the good of us as a people, as a whole. And all this time later, to see what you might think is trivial, what you might think is small, to see something that they worked, sacrificed, clawed, and scratched for be taken away by the stroke of a pen. And all because a few of us, not saying a lot of us, a few of us, because it was 92% and 80%. But every one of us counts. And a few of us decided a little bit of money was more important than preserving our history, than preserving the things that we fought for, to be able to have opportunities in this place. It's just sad, man. It's sad that, the further we get away from those times, the further our elders pass away and leave this world, and we aren't taught the things we need to be taught, and the knowledge isn't passed on to us. The further we get from that, the more and more easily it's going to be for things to roll back and go back in that direction. And I mean, it's unfortunate, but hey, man, just gotta keep grinding, keep fighting a good fight, and look for better days, work towards better days. But
This is your reminder. We are resting. Some of you may need to unplug completely from social media and the news because, as I have said, we are under spiritual attack. The goal is to break us spiritually, and some of y'all are already folding. Executive orders cannot change laws that Congress has made. So that order is not revoking the Civil Rights Act of 1965. What is happening is at the federal level. So federal employees and contractors. Is that bad? Yes. Is it as bad as y'all are crashing out for it to be? No. The most important thing for you to do right now is to take care of yourself. Please take some deep breaths in through the nose, hold for 4, and out through the mouth. Recenter yourself and ground yourself. Everything is going to be okay. Do we have work to do? Yes. Are we resting from solving other people's problems? Also, yes. But we must, and I mean must, get our spiritual house in order and regulate our emotions, regulate our nervous systems. That will help us learn to respond and not react. My visceral reaction was to crash out when I first saw it too, but because I have regulated my emotions and my nervous system, I did some homework and found out what really is going on. This is probably going to conclude part 1, and I will be back with a second part later, because right now I need you to just focus on deep cleansing breaths and recentering yourself.
Alright guys, this is some very devastating news for the progress of black people in the United States. For the majority of black people in the United States who voted for the orange man in charge, what were you thinking? For the many Hispanic people out there actually who voted for the orange man to be the head of state, are you happy? Because honestly, you know nothing about what black people have been fighting for ages in the United States to bring equality for all and policies that actually cover you, brown people. Well, you might not know what the Civil Rights Act of 1964-1965 actually means. So let me give you a summary of what it means. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 is a landmark piece of legislation that prohibits discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. It ended an equal application of voter registration requirements and racial segregation in schools, workplaces, and public accommodations. Now signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson on the 2nd of 1964, the act was the most comprehensive civil rights legislation and has since reconstructed and marketed significant progress in the fight of equal rights. Now, to think that many black people who voted for the orange man for a little bit of money, you chose to give up on your rights and equality, or did you not understand what was at stake here? Because now the orange man has revoked what your ancestors fought for with blood and sweat. A lot of people fought in the 60s, in the 50s, for equality, because before this act, your employer could look you in the face and tell you right into your face that, sorry, we don't hire black people here. But with this act, it made them accountable for any kind of racial segregation, any kind of segregation because of your nationality, any kind of segregation because of your sex. This actually protected a lot of people, not just black people. There are so many brown people, brown families that this law has been protecting from. Now, there are those of you who are saying, no, this is just at the federal level. It won't be passed down into the corporate world. Well, let me tell you something. It all starts, little by little. Rome wasn't built in one day. If they can't do this at the federal level, what do you think actually they are planning to do going forward? If you're a black person in America, you've been enjoying the blood and sweat of your great-great-grandfathers, great-great-grandmothers who fought for these acts to be put in place, these policies to be put in place, because all humans are equal. There is no black, there is no white. We are all equal. Now here comes a president that many black people actually voted for just to get a little bit of money that is revoking your rights, revoking your right to equity. Well, you tell me how you're gonna get that money when the employer actually starts segregating you from the place of work. When you drop that CV and another person who actually is a palm-colored person dropped their CV and you're more qualified than them, well, they'll choose to pick them just because they don't look like you. You know what I mean? This is so sad actually to hear that something like this could be done and is being done in a country that actually champions itself as the land of the free. And it's being done against a people that have fought for their rights since the beginning of the birth of this country. Now guys, let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this? What do you think about black people who actually voted for the orange man just to get money, a little bit of money? Now you're giving up your rights, you're giving up your equity at workplaces, in schools, and in government offices. Now guys, in my honest opinion, I think this is just the beginning. They're testing the waters, and I think there is something worse that is coming, maybe. Because if this can be passed, if this can be revoked, then you can imagine what they want to put in place. I can't even imagine that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about today's episode? Thank you very much for choosing us. Again, see you on the next episode.